Welcome, welcome, come one, come all, to Wootpie's Halloween Spooptacular. Now I call it the Spooptacular because I can't use Spooptacular because that's so basic. So very, very basic. And I can't call it Spectacular because I respect them very much. The Yogscast. That's theirs. So welcome to Wootpie's Spooptacular. So sit back, grab a drink, maybe some food, maybe a loved one. Turn the lights off and enjoy some spooky stories. This first story is going to be told by Hunter. Please enjoy.
Bedtime. Bedtime is supposed to be a happy event for a tired child. For me, it was terrifying. While some children might complain about being put to bed before they have finished watching a film or playing their favorite video game, when I was a child, nighttime was something to truly fear. Something in the back of my mind, it is still. As someone who's trained in the sciences, I cannot prove that's what happened to me. What are you fucking... what are you doing?
Don't worry about it. Keep reading. Keep reading.
Alright, let me just pick that up.
Jesus, my God!
I just dropped the whole story on the ground. Let me just pick it back up. I cannot prove that what happened to me was objectively real, but I can swear that what I experienced was genuine horror. As fear which in my life, I'm glad to say, has never been equally... Fuck, I need reading lessons, dude.
Her aim is getting better!
Yeah, you didn't join for the story, you joined for the memes. Anyway.
Guys, do you hear that?
What?
I got the scares here!
God. God help us. Equaled. I will relate to you at all now as best I can. Make of it you will, but I'll be glad to just get out of my chest. Get off my chest. Get off my chest. Get off my chest. Get off my chest. I can't remember exactly when it started, but apprehension towards falling asleep seemed to correspond with my being moved into a room of my own. I was 8 years old at the time. Until then, I had a shared room, quite happily with my older brother. As is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years my senior, my brother eventually wished for... Yeah, it says, as is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years my senior. Like, that's what it says. I'm not making this up, guys. Yeah. Okay. Something seniors. My brother eventually wished for a room of his own, and as a result, I was given the room at the back of the house. It was a small, narrow, yet oddly elongated room, large enough for a bed and a couple of chests or drawers, but not much else. I couldn't really complain because even at that age, I understood that we did not have a large house, and I had no real cause to be disappointed, as my family was both living and caring. Fuck that. Okay, that's enough memes for today. It was a happy childhood during the day, back in Nam. A solitary window looked out onto our back garden. Nothing out of the ordinary, but even during the day, the light which crept into that room seemed almost hesitant. As my brother was given a new bed, I was given the bunk beds which we used to share. While I was upset about sleeping on my own, I was excited at the thought of being able to sleep in the top bunk, which seemed far more adventurous to me. From the very first night, I remember a strange feeling of unease creeping slowly from the back of my mind. I lay on the top bunk, staring down at my action figures and cars strewn across the green-blue carpet, as my imaginary battles and adventures took place between the toys on the floor. I couldn't help but feel that, as my eyes were being slowly drawn towards the bottom bunk, as if something was moving in the corner of my eye, something which did not wish to be seen. The bunk was empty, impeccably made with a dark blue blanket tucked in neatly, partially covering two rather bland white pillows. Do not laugh at me. I didn't think anything of it at the time. I was a child, and the noise slipping. Yeah, I'm a child, guys. What's up, Scares here? Want to buy some free real estate?
That's what I'm going for. What's up,
And the noise slipping under my door from my parents' television. Why am I saying the? Oh my god. Bathed me in a warm sense of safety and well-being. Fuck! I fell asleep. When you awaken from a deep sleep and see something moving or stirring, it can make a few moments for you to truly understand what is happening. The fog of sleep hangs over your eyes and ears when lucid. Something was moving. Something there was no doubt about that. At first, I wasn't sure what it was. Everything was dark, almost pitch black, but there was enough light creeping in from outside to outline the nearly suffocating room. Two thoughts appeared in my mind, almost simultaneously. The first was that my parents were in bed because the rest of the house lay both in darkness and silence. The second thought turned to the noise, a noise which had obviously woke me. At last, the cobwebs of my sleep withered from my mind. The noise took on a more familiar tone. Sometimes the simplest of sounds can be the most unnerving. A cold wind whistling through a tree outside. A neighbor's footsteps uncomfortably close, or in this case, the simple sound of bed sheets rustling in the dark. That was it. Bed sheets rustling in the dark, as if some disturbed sleeper was attempting to get all too comfortable in the bottom bunk. Fuck! I lay there in disbelief, thinking that the noise was either my imagination or perhaps just my pet cat finding somewhere comfortable to spend the night. It was then I noticed my door shut as it been as I've fallen asleep. Shut up, don't judge me. Like this guy, it's shut as it had been as I've fallen asleep. Okay. Alright. Perhaps my mom checked. Yeah, it's British, I think, because it says mum. Mum's car. Perhaps my mom had checked in on me, and the cat had sneaked into my room then. Sneaked. Yeah, it does. It says sneaked.
It says sneak.
Yeah, sneaked.
Kick player Negan. There's a player named Negan.
Yeah. Yes, that had. Damn it. That must have been it. I turned to face the wall, closing my eyes in the vain hope that I could fall back to sleep. As I moved, the rustling noise from underneath me ceased. I thought I must disturb my cat, but quickly I realized that the visitor in the bottom bunk was much less mundane than my pet trying to sleep, and much more sinister. As if I alerted to, and disgruntled by my presence, the disturbed sleeper began to toss and turn violently like a child having a tantrum in their bed. I could hear their sheets twist and turn with increasing ferocity. Fear then gripped me, not like the subtle sense of unease that I had experienced earlier, but now potent and terrifying. But my heart raced as my eyes panicked, scanning the most impenetrable darkness. I let out a cry, as most young boys do. Yeah, I'm a young boy, guys. Hit me up. My Twitter's youngboy@youngboytrash.com. I instinctively shouted on my mother. I could hear something stir on the other side of the house, but as I began to breathe a sigh of relief that my parents were coming to save me, the bunk bed started to shake violently, as if gripped by an earthquake. Scraping against the wall, I could hear the sheets below me thrashing around as if tormented by a malice. I did not want to jump down to safety, as I feared the thing in the bottom bunk would reach out and grab me, pulling out into the darkness. So I screamed like that for 10 hours. White knuckles clutching my own blanket. Yeah, guys, this went south when I made the first mistake when I said something wrong. Like blah blah or something. I don't know. You'd have to go back through all this cancer to find out. White knuckles clenching my own blanket like a shroud of protection. The wait seemed like an eternity. The door finally and thankfully burst open, and I lay bathed in light while in the bottom bunk. The resting place of my unwanted visitor lay empty and peaceful. I cried and my mother consoled me. Tears of fear, followed by relief, streamed down my face. Yet though all the horror and relief, I did not tell her. I did not tell her. I did not tell her why I was so upset. I cannot explain it, but it was though whatever had been in the bunk would return if I even so much as spoke of it, or uttered a single syllable of its existence. Whether that was the truth, I do not know, but as a child I felt as if that unseen menace remained close, listening. My mother lay in the empty bunk, promising to stay there until morn. Eventually my anxiety diminished. I messed it up when I said morn. Diminished. Tiredness pushed me back towards sleep, but I remained restless, waking several times momentarily to the sound of rustling bedsheets. I remember the next day wanting to go anywhere, be anywhere, but in that narrow, suffocating room it was a Saturday and I played outside, quite happily with my friends. Although our house was not large, we were lucky to have a long, sloping garden in the back. We played there often, as much of it was overgrown and... God damn it. Please help me.
Tragically, you'd be wrong. It's exploring the vast realm of pure intellect is boring. It's boring. You know what I'd really like to do? Like to scratch my nose. Meow. Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Yep. Let's go back to the deep voice. As fun as it was occasionally, my eye would turn to that small window. Ordinary, slight, innocuous. But for me, that thin boundary was a looking glass into the strange, cold pocket of dread. Outside the lush green surroundings of our garden filled with smiling faces of my friends could not extinguish the dick. You said you were doing the cutoff things.
Whenever you're ready, Mr. Love.
Oh my god, I was trying to find it. Okay, let's go to that deep voice again. Soothing. The feeling of something in that room, watching me play, waiting for that night when I would be alone, eagerly filled me with hate.
Calm down.
Thank you. Shit. Was the mic on?
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
The smiling faces of my friends could not extinguish the creeping feeling crawling its way up my spine, each hair standing on end. The feeling of something in that room, watching me play, waiting for the night when I would be alone, eagerly filled me with hate. It may sound strange to you, but by the time my parents ushered me back into that room for the night, I said nothing. I did protest. I didn't even make an excuse as to why I couldn't sleep there. I simply and suddenly walked into that room, climbed the few steps into the bunk, and then waited. As an adult, I would be telling everyone about my experience, but even at that age, I felt almost silly to be talking about something in which I really had no evidence for. I would be lying, however, if I said this was my primary reason. I still felt that this thing would be enraged if I so much spoke of it. It's funny how certain words can remain hidden from your mind, no matter how blatant or deep your voice is.
Or deep your voice is. We had an interruption.
God fucking damn it!
Alright, continue.
Alright. Kermit the Frog here, and it may sound strange to you, but by the time my parents ushered me back into that room for the night, I said nothing. I didn't protest. I didn't make even excuse as to why I couldn't sleep there. I simply and suddenly walked into that room, climbed a few steps into the top bunk, and then waited. As an adult, I would be telling everyone about my experience, but even at that age,
I felt almost silly to be talking about something which I really had no evidence for. I would be lying, however, if I said this. My parents are dead. I still felt that this thing would be enraged if I so much as spoke of it. It's funny how certain words can remain hidden from your mind. No matter how blatant or obvious they are, one word came to me that second night, laying there in the darkness alone, frightened, aware of a rotten change in the atmosphere. A thickening of the air as if something had displaced it. As I heard the first casual twist of the bed sheets below, the first anxious increase of my heartbeat, as the realization that something was once again in the bottom bunk. That word, a word which had been sent into exile. Early consciousness, breaking free of all reposition, grasping for air, screaming, etching, and carving itself into my mind. Ghost. Toast. As this thought came to me, I noticed that my unwelcome visitor had ceased moving. The bed sheets lay calm and dormant, but they had been. I'm about to kill my fucking self, but okay. But they had been replaced by something. This far more hideous. A slow, rhythmic rasping. Breath heaved and escaped from the thing below. I could imagine a chest rising and falling with each sword wheezing and garbled breath. I shuddered and hoped beyond all hope that it would leave without occurrence. The house lay as it the previous night. In a thick blanket of darkness, silence prevailed. All but for the perverted breath of my as yet fuck. Alright. The house lay as it had the previous night, in a thick blanket of darkness. Silence prevailed. But for the perverted breath of mine, as yet unseen bunkmate, I lay there terrified. I just wanted this thing to go, to leave me alone. What did it want? Well, I want to kill myself. Then something mistakenly chilling transpired. It moved. It moved in a way different from before. When it threw its... what do we have, like 10 more paragraphs? I might skim through a couple, but
Yada yada yada.
and not important story arc crap, anything like that. Whatever the hell I just said.
Missing out on a big plot point, blah blah blah, blah blah blah.
Alright.
Abraham Lincoln dies, blah blah blah.
Whoa! Fucking gotta!
Alright. It threw itself around in the bottom bunk. It seemed unrestrained, without purpose, almost animalistic. This movement, however, was driven by awareness, with purpose, with a golden mind. Gold. For that lying
A gold mine. Gold. Gold.
in the darkness, that thing which seemed intent on terrorizing a young boy, calmly and nonchalantly sat up. Its labored breath had become louder, as now only a mattress and a few flimsy wooden slats separated my body from the unearthly breath below. I lay there, my eyes filled with tears, a fear which mere words cannot relate to you or anyone else coursed through my veins. I would not have believed that this fear could have been heightened, but I was so wrong. Let's go back to Kermit. Okay, I imagined what this fuck. Okay, let's just skip 3 paragraphs here. As darkness approached, I passed out as its scrawny fingers encircled my neck, squeezing my very life from me. Something. I awoke to my father offering to make me some breakfast. Breakfast. Kill me. Kill me. A wonderful sight indeed. I have survived the most horrible experience of my life until that, and now I moved the bed away from the wall. Oh my god, I'm a fucking genius. I'm Kanye West over in this bitch. Leaving behind the... Leaving behind the furniture I believe would stop that thing from taking to bed. Little did I think that it would take me and mine. Something weeks passed without incident. Yet one cold, frostbitten night, I woke to the sound of furniture where the bunk beds used to be, vibrating violently. In a moment passed. I lay there, sure. I could hear a distant wheezing coming from the deep within the wall, finally fading into the distance.
Dentist?
Into the dentist. I need to get these cavities removed, guys. Yeah, I've never told anyone this story before. But to this day, I still break out in a cold sweat at the sound of my bed sheets rustling in the night, or a wheeze brought on by a coming cold. I need to get that checked out. And I certainly never sleep with my bed against the wall, because I'm a retard. Call it superstition if you will, but as I said, I cannot discount fucking conventional explanations, cause it's a ghost, guys, come on! Such as sleep paralysis, hallucination, overactive imagination, cause I need Ritalin right now, please help me, God. But what I can say is this, the following year, I was given a larger room on the other side of the house, and my parents took the strangely suffocating, elongated place as their bedroom. They said it didn't need a large room, just one big enough for a bed and few things. They lasted 10 days. We moved on the 11th.
This story is scary as shit.
There you go.
The end! Woo!
Let's get right into the news.
This next story is told by yours truly. Enjoy. This next story is a story from my hometown. Whether I choose to believe it or not, I will not let you know. But I will tell from memory, so the story may be a little off. It's been a bit since I've heard it. There's this park in our town. It's called Hillview. As many parks are called. They're on a hill. It's called Hillview. And it's extremely haunted. There's many spooky things that go on there. But one of the things that particularly interests me about this place is the Hillview Monster. The Hillview Monster is said to be like some kind of wolf-like creature, like a werewolf-like creature, but it's more wolf than man. It's just a giant wolf that stands up on two legs. And it can't leave Hillview, and I'll explain to you why it can't leave Hillview. Back in the day, there were these killings that just kept happening all over this town, right? Nobody could stop it happening, and people just kept dying. And they finally caught what it was, and they saw this thing. They call it the Hillview Monster. The Hillview Monster, as I had described before, is a wolf-like creature. They saw this, and they got pissed. They were done. So what they did was they gathered all the people they could, all the men in the town. They gathered their muskets, and they walked up to Hillview. They marched up to Hillview one night at midnight. They found the Hillview Monster. They loaded their guns. They cocked their guns. They aimed their guns, and they got completely fucking shredded. They got wrecked. What happened? They got wrecked so bad, their body parts were hanging in the trees by the end of the night. And now what it is said is the reason the Hillview Monster can't leave anymore is because these men that got absolutely fucking wrecked are left in the trees. They're ghosts. They're spirits. And that doesn't allow the Hillview Monster.
Yeah, the cleanup crew was late one day.
Yeah,
It rained.
it was pretty bad. It was, yeah. So, what does the Hillview Monster do? If you're caught in its unfortunate sight, it shreds you. It runs after you and it shreds you. Oh yeah, it kills you. I know a man who's actually seen it before. A couple people.
You know a guy who knows the guy who knows the guy who knows the guy.
They were walking up. No, they were walking up in Hillview, and they were just taking a walk because they like to walk around town at night. It's okay, right? And they hear and then
squeak noise. I don't know.
And they look up and they see this in the moonlight. They see this huge ass fucking wolf-like creature running after them
across the moon.
As he demonically says, Do your vocab.
And they run. They're booking it out of there. They hear some chains running across the ground. They see a freaking angel/demon thing. They're running. And they like a constipated wiener dog.
Do your vocab.
And
Whatever. Okay, continue.
they make it down safely. And they still go back there all the time. They love it.
Okay.
The next story I'm about to tell is the story of the high school ghost. We have a high school in this town.
No.
It's haunted.
Like many.
The end. Alright, so, I'm gonna let Hunter... By the way, Noah's playing Team Fortress 2 right now.
You gonna let me speak
Not
again?
very good.
I'm gonna let
very
Hunter read a crappy pasta to end our Spooptacular.
Comedic voices, memes, the whole 9 yards. Even though I just listed off 2 things.
The whole 9 yards, you only listed 2 things.
Alright, this next story is called Bloody Fruit Loops of Death. Once upon a time, there was a little boy named Jack. Jack was very ugly, but he liked to eat people. One day, he got obsessed with eating people, so he ate himself. As he bit down onto his hand, the blood poured out and went all over the lovely floor. One day later, a man came into his house, seen the blood covered on the floor, and started skating in it. The man fell onto the knives drawer, and the knife spilled out and stabbed him. He died. A lady came the next day after that and seen the blood-covered floor and the man that was stabbed, so she moved on and walked to the bathroom and watched some TV. As she watched TV, she noticed it did not have good signal. She walked over to the TV and electrocuted herself.
That it doesn't have good signal.
She was also dead.
And the TV did not have a good signal.
She turned into a teddy bear
It's a TV, not a computer.
and started to scare little
And when
children,
he woke up in the morning,
saying,
she was still in the bed.
"Hey kids, I'm a bear that's gonna eat your flesh."
She has to give a ride to a PTA meeting for her kid.
After that, the mailman came about 2 hours later. Seeing her electrocuted body, he picked up the corpse and then stuffed it in the mailbox. Another mailman came the next day to bring some more mail. He opened the mailbox and seen the body stuffed inside. Alright, let's get some good tunes in this. He got it, took it to a lotion factory, and then watched as they turned it into a bottle of lotion. He then delivered the lotion to a pregnant woman. She moisturized her skin with the blood-filled lotion. Her skin was so soft, and when she had her baby, the baby's skin was so soft, but it was a red baby. The baby then grew up to be a serial killer, stepping on all the Fruit Loops. One day, the police caught him, and so they executed him by stepping on him. Like he did on the Fruit Loops. It was televised on national television. They even showed it to preschoolers. Once he was dead, they took the body and made meatloaf out of it.
Meatloaf.
They sold it at a market for $5 million. Someone bought it, took it home, and ate it. Then they got sick and died. Tragic. Her body turned into a pile of Fruit Loops. Her kids ate the pile of Fruit Loops, and they turned into Fruit Loops. 1 year later, the police realized that there was an amazing amount of people missing. So one day, they looked for them. They found the piles of Fruit Loops and were like, I love me some Fruit Loops. So they ate them, and they lived. Then one day, they were driving home, and flying Fruit Loops appeared. So they opened the window to the car and started eating the Fruit Loops as they appeared. So they opened the window to the car and started eating the Fruit Loops as they filled. Once there were no more Fruit Loops to eat, they went to a pillow factory and purchased 5 billion pillows to dye red with blood. Then they slept on them, and all started dreaming about Fruit Loops taking over the world with microwaves. The end. Credit to Shaylin, whoever that is. Thank you for killing me.
Alright, so guys, that was our Halloween spooptacular. I hope you guys enjoyed, and just to leave you guys real spooked at the end here, here's a picture of me in my Halloween costume this year.